Hello everyone, this is James Valvis coming at you with a new Freeform number 27. This Freeform may be the last of the Freeforms that I do that look like this or feel like this. There may be a different dynamic, a different way of going about it. I've changed already a little bit of this and that. For instance, if you're looking at the art right now, that is done by me. The it's just a scratchy photo run through a filter. It's not impressive in any way, but I just want to make sure at this point that I'm using my own material so that I'm not caught up in a copyright problem later on. The same goes with the music. I got that as royalty-free music. Bought a CD for that, so I'm using that. I'm also doing this on a new computer, new laptop with a new monitor and new speakers. And this is the first time that I have updated my electronics in really forever. I mean, I got a new laptop about 4 or 5 years ago, but otherwise, everything that I've done is basically 1998 level. I do not have I've never had anything quite this nice. I've actually set this up so that I'm able to make movies, real movies, on this setup here in a professional way. Now, I don't have the knowledge to do that yet. I'm hoping that I will get that as I go along. But it's I've gotten a camera that will allow me to take pictures and use pictures and video, which will allow me to go forth with my own material rather than clipping stuff from the internet and plopping it down on some video editor and claiming it as my own. I don't feel comfortable doing that. I've always kind of resented when people have taken my poems without asking. That happens quite often, by the way. They use my poems all the time, or my writing all the time. They'll just clip whole things and throw it somewhere like it's theirs. And I think, God, I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting paid ever. Like, I've worked for 30 years and I never get paid. That's not true. I make money here and there from I'm talking about the poetry here. I'm not talking about other things I do. I have stuff on the side that not a lot of people know about. But I do want there to be credit where credit is due. I want there to be I think the creators deserve that. And so I can't afford to pay all the licensing fees that would go with royalty fees for music and images and video. I mean, to give you an example, to use a music off a site one time for one project. So this would be a project. This one particular talk, it would cost $17. Now think about that if you're doing 3 or 4 videos a week, and you're using the same music over and over again, say in an introduction, like I just used the royalty-free music in an introduction. That would be prohibitively expensive very quickly for someone like me who's a literary artist. Or a video. If you wanted to use video footage, say you wanted to use video footage of a drone shot coming in over New York City, well, that can run you for $80. $80 for that one particular, and it's not, you're not talking about, a 10-minute or an hour-long video. You're talking about 30 seconds of video. So, that can get very, very expensive very quickly. Images themselves can be expensive. All, again, you can use these things. You can go through them very quickly, and you can spend a lot of money. Now, if you're a corporation, that's not a big deal. But if you're just some schmuck in his office in Issaquah, Washington, who's written poems his whole life, that's prohibitively expensive. So I have to find ways around that. I have to find creative ways. One of the creative ways I've done it is to just use my own material. I'm going to use my own images, my own video, my own, not music, because I it's not a skill I have, but it's I'm going to try as best I can to get music that is both good and free. That's not always going to be easy to do. When you listen to some of uh, the royalty music, you could see why they're charging for it. It is outstanding. The work that they're doing is outstanding. I don't begrudge them any of the money they're making. I don't think that they're wrong. I just think, I'm a very, if you want to consider me a company, I'm about as small as it gets. I'm like a bug as compared to McDonald's as a skyscraper. And so, you can see why McDonald's would pay, $17 or maybe McDonald's is wrong because they're gonna fit more, so they're gonna be more expensive. I don't know, $200-300 say for a a music license. That wouldn't be hard for them. It wouldn't be a issue. They make that up in one you know shift, one half hour uh, profits in one location. But for me, yeah, a problem. So I've been doing that. I've got the new monitor. It's an LG 34-inch monitor. It barely fits on my desk with everything else. I got this canopy I love. I got this printer I love, so they have to stay on the desk. I've got so it just barely fits in between those two things. I have to actually turn them sideways so I can fit the monitor in. But I wanted a wide monitor, because I got glaucoma and my eyes are kind of going bad, and when I squint at the monitor, it hurts my eyes, and I'm not able to work very long because eventually I start getting a headache. So I wanted to see if I could lower that problem a little bit. And then the second thing, uh, the reason I got this monitor is because you're able to have a lot of real estate, which is space on your computer. You learn all these technology things. Look, I've been had my head down writing poems and short stories and novels for about 10 years now. I mean, I've literally almost have never looked up, and if I've looked up, it's been to go with my family on a vacation or something. But I've never really have done anything, pretty much anything otherwise. I've been a writer. I've been a very successful writer, but I've been a writer, and that's pretty much all I've done for 10 years. And so, like I said, I'm basically, I this is to say I would even go back. It's even really 20 years since I've really paid attention to technology. So I'm like way behind the times. I'm like far, far, far behind the times. I just don't, I don't get it. I don't, everything is new. Everything needs to be learned. Everything needs to be caught up on. And it's a chore. It's a chore. It really, I'm not as young as I used to be either. So I have I struggle with it, to catch up. And so it's causing me problems, and I'm having to spend a lot of time on it. I had to spend a lot of time just to research what to get. Like this monitor, I probably spent 10 hours researching monitors to find out that this was the particular monitor that I thought would be best for me at this time. And it's not simple, and I probably spent longer than that on the laptop. The laptop was, is a 1900. Well, it was really a $2,000 device after you consider taxes, and it's a wonderful machine. It's beautiful. The screen on it is beautiful. I don't even use the screen, but I don't. It's there if I need it. It's there if I want to take it to the other room or something, and it's there if I want to check certain colors. It's just an absolute beautiful screen. It's a perfect workstation. It's absolutely marvelous. But I spent another, 10 to 20 hours studying that. I spent all this time getting, studying to get, the have a CD writer. I probably spent 2 or 3 hours studying to which one of those to get. They're a little more difficult because they all seem to be about of equal quality, and they all seem to be like, well, if you get lucky, it's great, and if you don't get lucky, it's bad. And it's just all of them are like that. And then you have my my new hard drive my external hard drive with a 4 terabyte hard drive, and that's another thing that's hit and miss. If you love it, you'll love it, and if not, you can lose all your data. You can all just go. So it's a technology is a problem across the board, because it's, if it works, it's great, and if not, you spent a lot of money for what essentially amounts to be an expensive paperweight. And so I've spent a lot of time. I've spent literally a month of real work hours studying each and every part of this, the speakers, the the camera that I got. Oh, the camera! God, I probably spent more time on the camera than anything else, and I love the camera though. The camera is the perfect choice if you're in the market for a new DSLR and you want to get a great camera. You want to get a camera that just is high end, amateur. You're not a professional, but you want a great camera that's going to last you like a long time, and it's going to be just terrific. And the Canon 71i or 800D, depending on where you are in the world, is just an amazing piece of machinery. I absolutely adore the camera. I adore the laptop. I like the monitor. I'm new to all the rest of it, but the speaker's pretty good. So anyway, I've been doing all this, and now I've got to get the Adobe thing, and I've got to learn that. I've got to learn all the software needed to make the movies that I want to make, and this is all just to share poems. It's also very expensive, so I'm spending, thousands of dollars to do this. I'm spending thousands of dollars to make poems and to make features of other poets and to make, quality commentary and quality content. And, I'm really, I'm hoping it pays off in that people appreciate it. People, even if it's just 3 people, I hope they appreciate it, because I really have gone through a lot of effort to try to make something that's special. And I hopefully over time you'll be able to see just the fruit of my labor. And it's not there yet. I mean, what you're looking at is a screen. I'm not even going to work on it because I got other things to do. I'm just doing this commentary here for now, let you know what's going on, and then I'll be back in a little bit, probably in a week's time, with new material. There'll be new poetry. There'll be new commentary. There'll be gaming stuff going on. There'll be all kinds of stuff. I got ideas for a review channel, mostly focusing on reviewing books, but also reviewing certain anthology series that I love, old time radio that I love. So I got just a ton of ideas that I'm looking to just work and create and just put it out there and have fun and have everybody happy. And unfortunately, I just keep getting sabotaged by the fact that I won't give in to the leftist mob. And so I'm doing all this work. To get eyes on me. And over the I only have 600 Facebook friends, and that's by choice. Every single Facebook friend that I have, every single one, I know something about. There's not a single one of those people where I have not read their work. I have not conversed with them at length. I have not spent quality time with them as an individual in my personal life. Something along those lines. I have friends in there that I had when I was in the Army. There are friends in there 30, 40 years ago. My friend Dan, we met when I was 14, and I love that guy to this day. He's just a beautiful man. He's about to become mayor of North Arlington. And it just, so I have all these connections, and I know all of them. I know everybody. There are people out there, they have their 5,000 Facebook friends. They don't know. Look, even my 600, which is now less than 600 because I lost 11 friends for standing up for Kavanaugh. Even the under 600 that I have, think about that. If you wrote a letter to a person every day, if you wrote one email or one message on Facebook or one thing to one person every day, it would take you 2 years to get through all of them. And then think about that. And then I want you, if you're listening to this, I want you to think about how many times I've talked to you, how many times I've responded to your post on Facebook, or how many times I've written you a letter, or how many times I've helped you or talked to you about a poem, or how many times I've whatever I've done. I want you to think about that, because that's all time out of my day. That's time out of my life. It's valuable. And so I could be focused on me instead of focusing on you. And so what I'm saying is that every single one of those people are valuable to me. Every one of those people meant something to me or means something to me presently. Uh, there's not a single person there I have not handpicked. There's not a single person there I've ever let in. They've all either said something I appreciate, usually artistically, not always, but usually, and or I know them personally. I've known them for a long time. Some I've known for decades. Some I've known uh, intimately, and some I've known just tangentially. But I've known them, and I've helped them, and I've supported them. And so when somebody just kicks me to the curb, it's not like some just schmuck that I let them go in. I just started friending people, and then they come, they go. It doesn't matter to me. Every single one of those people, every single one of them, tried at least to develop a relationship with. I usually succeeded. And so when they um, when they dismiss me over an opinion that I think is just common sense. It's not even. It's not. My opinion on Kavanaugh was very simple. There was never any credible evidence that he committed the crime. That's it. That's it. It's just that simple. There is no. It doesn't matter whether you've been abused, and few people have been abused more than me. I don't like saying that. I don't like throwing that out as like oh, I'm a victim, therefore I'm protected from my opinion. I don't like that stuff. But it's true. It's nevertheless true. The truth of the matter is that when you look at Dr. Christine, if she was even a doctor, that's debatable. When you look at Christine Ford's testimony of what she claimed happened and how she was devastated by it, oh, thank God she didn't live my life. If she lived my life, she'd be in a rubber room somewhere. She would not be able to function even in even in a moderate way. She would be a bit complete basket case. And of course, there's some truth to that. I mean, all people, regardless of their, how they go about their business, can deal with things differently. Some people can watch people get, blown to pieces at war and come home and smile and have dinner with the wife and then go off to their job at General Electric and be perfectly happy. Some people can, see one incident and the rest of their life they're a basket case. I mean, I get that, but at the same time, man, if you're that, if that getting pushed down on the bed and then and then getting chased out of the room, she didn't even get chased. She just left. If that's the thing that undoes you, you got problems. You cannot deal with regular life. And if those and anybody who's like this, anybody who's that much of a wallflower, and that's if it was even true. I don't even think it was true. At least it's not true as far as he did it. Definitely he didn't do it. There's no evidence he did it. There's no reason. There's no evidence that this guy was ever in the same room with her, let alone that he committed this crime with her. None. Zero. If I went at length. I took painstaking care to lay out the case of why this man was innocent. He wasn't just not guilty. It wasn't just like, oh, gee, I wonder. It could be either way. But you got to side with, innocent until proven. No, he was absolutely exonerated. There is absolutely nothing that backs up her claims. And so this is a common sense thing. This is not like, oh, you think you believe in the death penalty and I don't, and therefore, we're at loggerheads and we can't see eye to eye. This is you. If you take the position that this man should have been destroyed for this, you have taken the same position as the Earth is flat. It's just that simple. You can't, or men can become women, or whatever else the left is trying to sell these days. That is absolutely anti-reality. So the problem with those people, the problem with this is that those people are so connected to the way they see the world that they're no longer even able to process simple reason. And I have a hard time with that. The only thing left for me to do, if I want to, keep that friendship, the only thing that's there for me, the last alternative, is to just completely shut down and not say anything. And I see people do that all over the place. I mean, I know what they're thinking. I know what they're saying. They even write me and say, I'm not going to be able to like join you. You're 100% right. You're very brave to say what you're saying, but I'm not getting involved because I don't want to be destroyed, or I just can't deal with it, or it's too much. I mean, I get that. I absolutely get that. But for me, if I go down that road, then what's left of me as an artist? I look. I'm not connected. I'm not. I'm not in any way going. I'm a white guy. I'm a Christian white guy at that. I have everything stacked against me as an artist. I only have one thing that I can give the world, and that's the truth. Really, it's the only art that really, I believe, the only art that lasts is honest art. All dishonest art fades away. It might have it might be truly ascendant and popular in its time, but over time it just fades and goes to nothing. Uh, Now a lot of good art fades to nothing too, but all bad art eventually fades to nothing. There's a reason why Dickens is still read today, and that's because he's a very honest writer, and it's very you read it and it's very enjoyable and it's very honest. You don't read that and say, yeah, Oliver Twist, that doesn't ring true. It does ring true. It does. The whole thing rings true. Whether you think it's progressive, liberal, or conservative, whatever you think it is. When you read A Christmas Carol, it rings true. It rings true to the person and the time, and the issues involved, and it doesn't ever not ring true, and it will always ring true, and that's why it's immortal. But when you're when you're living lies, when you're exposed as a liar, that is the end of all art. Art cannot exist in that kind of false vacuum. It can only, I don't even think it can be art, but it kind of, it can like mimic art, but it can't be art. Art is by its essence is true. Hamlet is true. It just is. All right. It doesn't mean that that's the only way to look at the world, but it does mean that when you look at Hamlet's existential crisis in the second soliloquy, to be or not to be, whether 'tis noble in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of trouble and oppose them. When you listen to that and you hear that, you think that's me, that's her, that's him, that's them, that's everybody. But you don't feel that way when you think a man can become a woman. It just doesn't. It's just not true. It's a lie. So if the problem is, I would have to become a much lesser artist to be to stifle myself. I would have to say things that didn't offend people, and I'd have to tiptoe around people's feelings. And we're presently in a hysteria, in a panic almost. It's a panic where I actually think at this point racism is less of a problem by far than anti-racism. Anti-racism is killing us. Now, that's that. Let me unpack that a little bit. When there are not that many racists. There just aren't. There are some, of course, there are some, but they have no power. They have no. They have no. Cash in the culture. They have no strength in any of the institutions. Nobody's making racist movies. Nobody's making racist speeches in politics. Nobody's putting on racist plays. Nobody, if you listen to the left, everything's racist. All the TV, all it's racist. But really, not really. Okay, nobody's really doing that. Nobody's running a out and out racist, anything. and really for a long time really haven't. There you look at the earliest, even stuff by Jesus. I mean, it's all anti-racist. The Good Samaritan is an anti-racist creed, really. It's like the whole story is like, look, you guys think you're all great, but here's this guy from a culture that everybody hates, and he's better than all of you. That's anti-racist right there, and it rings true today because it's just as true as it was then. But we don't, but anti-racism is going to kill us. This is the idea that you need to destroy people because they are not following your own political ideology to the T, because that has to be racist. And it doesn't matter if that person's black, by the way, or if that person's Asian or Hispanic. None of that matters. It's just like it's like feminism is going to kill women. It already is killing women. I mean, women are killing themselves left and right over because they're unhappy. They're you have all the sex selective abortions that are killing female unborn. You have all kinds of women who don't know why they're miserable. When they're 38 years old, they don't have any babies. Their husband is wants to have an open marriage. There's there's sisters who's never went to college and is like a high school dropout, is far happier than her with her mechanic husband and her 3 children. She can't figure it out, and one day she goes home, she takes a lot of pills, and she's done. What I'm saying to you is that all this stuff, it's whenever you deny reality, you end up sad. This is always true. You end up in a bad place. You cannot deny the truth forever without ending up in a horrible place. And so I would not want to do that as an artist, because even if I was successful, I would just be hurting people. And that's not why I became an artist. I didn't become an artist to hurt people. I didn't become an artist to lie to people or to hide the truth and to play a game of, let me be tiptoe around people's feelings so that I can get into publication in some freaking online journal. I mean, really, is that what, if that's why you started writing, and if that's why you're continuing to writing, you should just stop. You should just stop. It's not, you don't make enough money, you don't get enough ego boost for it to go on like that. It's just not worth it. I want to write things that are immortal and great, and I want to say things that are true and good and help people to see the truth. And therefore, that's how I go about my business. But I can't say that each and every time that a friend drops me, especially when it's a friend that, look, even though I have 600 friends, and even though I'm close to each and every one of them, or I've had contact with each and every one of them, and I've tried to communicate with each and every one of them, or I've respected each and every one of them, there are people there, maybe about 50 of them, that I feel a great either gratitude toward or affection toward. And so when those people, drop me, it hurts. I mean, it does. It hurts. Especially since I know what I'm standing up for is good. I'm, and the idea that I'm not is, look, they're saying about Susan Collins that she's like a pro-rape senator. I mean, that's absurd. There's not even any kind of rational way you can get there. Okay? The idea that this woman, who's really a squishy Republican and just a genuinely decent public servant, look, I disagreed with her. I thought that she should have come out stronger than she did on Kavanaugh's innocence. But to call this woman horrible names, or to call Kanye West a token Negro, or whatever they're calling people these days, these are not rational opinions. These are not rational reactions to the world. Anyway, when these people drop me, and they're, one guy was my instructor at I took a mystery writing course at the University of Washington, and it was a certificate course, so it wasn't there as an enrolled matriculated student. I was just taking a certificate course, and the first I'm not going to give his name, but the first couple of trimesters were taught by a female mystery writer, and she's still my friend, and I love her. She's a beautiful woman, and we probably disagree on a lot of things, but I just think the world of her. And then the other, he taught the third part of that, and he was more successful than she was, um, and still is, but and he was he was much closer to my writing style, my way of doing things, and I was very taken with him. I thought he was and he's a very successful guy, and he's he's sold a lot of books. He's been for a long time. He's got two mystery series that are long running, and they're both successful. And I've been friends with him on Facebook. We disagree with this and that, sometimes heatedly, things on guns and things of that sort. But it's always very cordial, usually very cordial. And but he started to get nastier and nastier to me, and started, he just seemed to start to troll me. And I say, when you could tell when somebody starts to troll you. There's a difference between somebody disagreeing with you. I'll get that with somebody like Tim Green, who's the editor of Rattle. He's a great guy. He'll come out and he'll disagree with me about something, and we'll hash it out. Sometimes I'll agree with him. Usually I won't. But but most of the time that he talks to me, he may even agree with me here and there. He may defend me at times, and vice versa. So that's not a guy who's trolling. He's just a guy who sometimes disagrees, and that's his right. I wouldn't want a friend who never disagreed with me. I would think that friend is just kind of a they're just living off my cult of personality. Then they're not their own unique person. I reject that. I don't want that to happen. I know that there are a lot of people out there who either tacitly or openly encourage that, where they want the people who are following them to be devoted to them. And it's one way to be very successful. Look, Bukowski, for instance, was a cult of personality. Bukowski had people worshipped him, basically, mostly guys, not all, but mostly guys. They worshipped him as like some demigod, of the hard Scrabble life. I was never that guy. I appreciated a lot of his art. I still appreciate a lot of his art. I think that he did some amazing things as an artist. But I have my issues with him as well. I think that he was wrong across the board in a lot of things, and his overall life philosophy was just horrible, to be honest with you. So that's the way a normal person should be. If you're a fan of Jordan Peterson, that's fine, but you should understand that Jordan Peterson is just a guy who happens to be a pretty smart guy, and he happens to sometimes be right about things, and very right, and sometimes he can be wrong. Like in the Kavanaugh thing, he said that Kavanaugh should get confirmed and then resign, and that way everybody would be happy, because we could get somebody in there who was not as contentious as Kavanaugh. And it was it was stunning in its stupidity. I mean, and at one point he even called Kavanaugh the Chief Justice, which is, it shows you how little he's Canadian, so it shows you how little he knows about the American system. An Associate Justice is not a Chief Justice. Chief Justice is John Roberts. Associate Justice are the rest of them. So yeah, so you don't want to turn over your brain to other people. But it hurts. It hurts when you lose, finish the story here. It hurts when someone like that, and he did over Kavanaugh, just blocked me. He didn't even just unfriend me. He blocked me. He made it so that I cannot ever talk to him again, because I confessed to being molested as a child, and said, nevertheless, this case is not credible against this man. And that alone was enough for him It's one of the few literary contexts I have that's like in the novel world. He could point me to an agent or something like that, or something like he never did, but actually, the other teacher did. She helped me get an agent back in the day, but he never did. He just kind of went about his business teaching, and I just it hurts. It hurts to lose somebody like that. Somebody that you respected, somebody that you cared about, somebody you spent a lot of time reading his work, supporting his work, advertising his work to other people. I've told literally a couple hundred people they should read this gentleman. I'm not going to name his name. I don't want to give him the advertisement, to be honest with you, because I think he's a small, petty man. I think he's small. I think he's petty, and I think that he doesn't deserve my support anymore. But I'm sad about it. I'm sad that he's a small, petty man. I'm sad that I lose this relationship that I thought I had, and I'm sad whenever this happens. I know a lot of people, other people are cavalier about it, and they think, well, out with bad rubbish. But I'm never that way. I wasn't that way with my first wife when we broke up. I was devastated by that. I'm still trying to get back with my first wife, even after we divorced. Like we just came from our divorce. We just told, I agreed to divorce her because she wanted one, and on the right, because I didn't have a car, so she drove me to the courthouse and then drove me home. On the way home, I was still trying to convince her to save the marriage. I'm just loyal that way. I just my affections to people. I'm with my wife for 20 years, and I expect to be with her until I die. I don't expect her to die before me, so I expect to be with her until I die. I don't know when that'll be. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe 20, 30 years from now. Who knows? But whenever it is, that's the hand I want to be holding mine at the when this life meets eternity. So I just feel that kind of loyalty to people. If you're my friend, unless you give me great cause, usually involves some kind of extreme rudeness. I I'm your friend for life. That's the way I am, and it's to some degree difficult because when I make a friendship, I really put effort into it. I really put a lot of effort into it. I'll put a lot of time, and of course I'll match. I usually put more effort in whatever other person puts effort into it. I usually give double. So if the other person, like say, writes me a page email, I'll give them 2 pages or 4 pages or 8 pages. If somebody sends me a line, I'll send them 4 lines. If somebody wants to you know you know do something for me, I'll try to do in kind for them. At least what they gave me, if not more. And because I think that people who are good to you, you should try to reward that, and people who show interest in you, you should show interest in them. I personally think if you show interest in me, it demonstrates great taste and great character. But other people may disagree. But I just, here we are. We're almost 40 minutes in, and basically all I really ever wanted to say was I'm sad about it. I'm sad to lose it. I don't even know who the other 10 people are, but I'm sad that they. I'll find out eventually. There'll be we get these on Facebook. You get these see what you did on this day over 12 years or whatever you've been on Facebook, and you go there and you click on the little the friends who like your acceptance to plowshares or something, and there'll be like 70 of them, and you go down there and you could see add friend, add friend, add friend, add friend. Those are the people who dropped you. And it's just it's sad to see it. It's sad that it happens. That they can't. That we live in such radicalized times that a reasonable argument is now, a reasonable position is now viewed on with such hostility that you have all kinds of garbage going on. You have people, leftists attacking conservatives and pro-life people and other people, conservative politicians, all over the place. I hardly recognize my country anymore. I do. People are so strung out, and it's the media driving it. It's absolutely the media driving it. They are stoking up hate everywhere they go, and it's bad for our country. It's bad for us individually. It's unhealthy. Suicides are going up through the roof. Many people are miserable. Social media is a chore and sometimes an outright hell for people. And I don't know how to fix it. All I know is that if you give in to the urge to silence yourself, if you give in to that urge, if you become uh, just a shell, just a plastic person, then you don't have any friendships because nobody knows you. Nobody knows you. I could have hid the whole Kavanaugh opinion. I didn't have to address that. I wasn't going to alter the course of history with my commentary. I wasn't going to do that. I didn't have to tell people about how I was raped as a child. I didn't have to tell people about that. I didn't have to go through any of that. But I know that if you hide yourself so deeply, then true friendship can never be had. It can never be had with anyone. They're always friends with some fake person, some fake you that's not the real you. And I think I'd rather have 5 really good friends than 500 fake friends. It's just me. It's the way I feel about it. Um, but I'd rather have 500 real friends than 5 friends. And I don't know if that's possible anymore. I don't know that it's possible that people can, in this climate, in this era where you have these politicians screaming to get in their face and to kick them while they're down or whatever. I don't know that it's possible to have friends who are, different than you, and that's a shame. It's a loss for everybody because there's just no way you can go forward from that. That is really any good. I really loved that guy, the writer I'm talking about, the teacher I had. I thought he was an excellent artist, a terrific all-around person in general. But the cult and the hysteria got the better of him, and it made him into someone who is incapable of real friendship. He can only become friends with shadows of himself. And that's not friendship, really. I don't know what it is, but it's not friendship. Anyway, it's Jim Valvis talking about these things. If you like this, if you like the this commentary, if you like what I'm doing here, if you like the if you want to be involved in the great things that are going to come up, because I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better right now. Just bare bones, but I'm going to get better. We'll improve in time. I promise you. I'm going to work hard at it. And so if you want to be part of that, if you want to be somebody who is part of what the literary work that I'm doing, and this movement of hopefully truth and goodness and beauty that should inform all art. If you want to do that, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell so you get the notices. Sometimes I've hit bells on people. I don't get their notices. So come back. Try to remember me here and there. I have a Patreon account. I'm not going to put that down there right now, but I want you to know that it's there because I will be eventually getting to it. I'm going to be doing other things to make money here, so don't take this freaking massive hit that I've taken. And anyway, listen, as always, God bless you, and I mean that. God bless you. I hope that if you're listening to this and you're 45 minutes into this, then you're you're somebody who cares about me, and I really do truly hope that you're blessed, and I very much appreciate your friendship. Okay, bye bye.